coming at you live from a couple of stools in the low class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walk into a bar. I am Justin Golak. I am a comedian. I am sipping on. All right, so I'm so fucking bummed. I'm so bummed. I was supposed to do a beer from our travels and my seasonal cocktail in the
December
2
month.
weeks the 2 weeks before I said that I would do. Meaning, like, I had 2 weeks to do those two things. I set the thing, and last week I did a beer from our travels, and then this week I was supposed to do the holiday cocktail, and I fucking got busy and I forgot to grab the fucking mixer. So angry because I feel like I always try hard to meet an expectation. And really, I did go to one place since I said I was going to try to find it, and I did not find it there.
Oh, they didn't have it? Well, so you made the effort.
But then I really did get busy and forget. I didn't keep efforting. You know what I mean?
It's sort of like you forgot to get your wife a present.
No, we're off gifts for Christmas. So that doesn't count. But no, I'm so annoyed at myself. So I apologize to everybody. I know literally no one cares, and I'm just in my own head. And it's like a dumb drink, too.
What was it? Tell us what it
No,
was
because I'm still going to do
We're
it.
going to save it for next year?
I'm going to do it on our first episode back after break.
Oh, okay.
And this will transition into what I wanted to talk
Will it still be relatable, even if the
it doesn't matter. It's going to be what it is.
Okay.
And you could do it next Christmas.
You take it or leave it, listener.
It's a Christmas every year, and the drink itself works through the whole winter season, which is still upon us. Well, maybe not, because I think they only shelf this mixer during the holidays.
Oh.
So maybe
you might have just given it away.
Maybe it is a big fuck. I don't know.
Well, why didn't you find it at the place you went? Did they just
I
not
found
carry
it at a grocery store early, and that's what gave me the idea, because I was like, oh, I've done this before, and it's a quick, easy drink. It's with like a holiday beverage that you just add some booze to, and it's like a classic twist on something I feel like I've done on the podcast before, or at least I've talked about as like a favorite drink of mine. It's just a fun little easy twist with this like holiday drink that they put out. But I only found it in 2 liters, and I don't drink pop. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to make a drink with this, and then it's just going to go bad. It's not even really money. I mean, a 2-liter pop is like $1 or $2, but I just don't like waste.
Trying to guess what it is.
Not a waste person.
Well,
it's not even that creative. It's not even like something crazy.
Your new year of productivity and staying on top of shit.
You know what? I instantly feel better because that is how I'm going to frame it, and
Yeah.
I feel instantly better about it. Thank you so much. You're a good wife.
I love you.
I love
Making
you
your
too.
fuck-ups not so painful.
That
That's what I'm here
is
for.
mostly your job. So, but it does transition well into. So our first episode back, I will do the holiday drink. God damn it! And they usually, I mean, they sell it through. You know what I mean? And it's soda. It doesn't go fucking bad. So
yeah.
So I'm sure you can find it through mid or late January, probably into February, probably depending on where you live.
It's a soda they only sell at the holidays.
Yeah. I'm sure most people can think of what it is. It usually
it
starts
like
around Thanksgiving. Pop? No, it's not even that weird. It's really it's good. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll
Teaser.
Tease it. And for real tease. I was like a 15-year-old girl tease, meaning like I didn't follow through. But this is gonna be a good tease.
Oh no!
Where I just pet your little peen, but then I end up sucking it so good.
Oh jeez, I that's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking today. It's this book I'm reading
about how much you were a tease.
Well, like no.
And now you're a big old slut.
I just remember I remember I was like 15 and making out with someone, and like he whipped out his penis, and I like. I didn't know what to do. I'd never done anything before. I'd never given a hand, nothing. And like, I gave like a little pump, and then I was like, I have to go. Like, I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was gonna do it bad. And as someone who was like total perfectionist overachiever, I didn't want to do a bad job, so I just left.
So you did no job.
Yeah, so literally. I totally was that 15-year-old tease where I was like, here's one touch. Goodbye.
Oh man. Was he also like 15, 16?
Yeah.
Sometimes one pump can make you come at that age. So. But anyways, like I said, that transitions into something I wanted to bring up in the open. When I say when we come back, yes, we're going to take a holiday break because honestly, our schedule would have us recording on Christmas Eve, putting out on Christmas, recording New Year's Eve, putting out New Year's Day. No one's listening to podcasts anyways.
Right.
So why don't you let us goddamn be with our families? Because you know you're going to be with yours, not
Yeah,
listening.
lower your expectations.
Well, it's not even
listener.
lowers your expectations, but you're taking 2 weeks off. Like, listen, is that what you're going to do? You weren't going to open gifts on Christmas or watch football and, nap off your hangover on New Year's Eve. You're going to listen to me scream. That was going to be good for your hangover. That was going to make your Christmas more jolly. Of course not. You were going to come back early January, and that's when we're going to come back, so we'll meet you there. And what do we have? What do we have to kind of, even though I don't think we're doing anything wrong, what do we have to just say, like, hey, in honor of this week, we give you this? Because, like I said, I don't want to say it's like an offering, because, like, fuck you. Fuck you for being so needy, listener. But also, please don't stop. It'll crush me.
Also, we love you.
So we will be back January 8th. So basically, like I said, we'll just take the holiday Mondays off, and then we'll be back the next Monday, and every
easy
Monday
to
for the
remember.
rest of your life or
Yeah.
ours. January 8th, we'll be back. But on January 4th, which is a Thursday, we will put out a bonus episode on Patreon.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is gonna become a series. It would be sad for society if it did. And also, I don't want to like lock us into this. But it is.
We have enough to review.
I think it is interesting. It'll be a good bonus episode. But we obtained a copy. Of "I Love You, Daddy." Louis C.K.'s canceled and nowhere
Forbidden
at all filmed.
movie.
But
His
right,
forbidden
it's
film.
kind of like we'll get into all that because
Yeah.
like our reviews are reviews, but we also talk about the situations
The constructs around it. Right.
yeah. So obviously, like you remember, we talked about Nate Parker and Birth of a Nation on the podcast, and we did a bonus episode on Patreon where we reviewed it.
Yeah.
And like I said, review the movie, but also talk about all the circumstances around it. So we also talked about the Louis C.K. thing on this podcast, and I'll go ahead and pull that clip and post it on YouTube so you can listen to that as a prologue to our review on Patreon. But our bonus episode we'll review it, but we'll probably also talk about the things surrounding it too.
Remember, you only get that bonus episode if you are a patron.
But also, if that is at any level.
Right.
So the lowest
So you
level
do $1
is a
a
buck.
month, and you get the bonus.
Buck Patreon, and you get bonus episodes. And as you remember, 6 episodes for sure coming out in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
First one's coming out 8 days into it. And the more subscribers we get, we've set goals, or we've set goals. You get rewards. We've set goals where the more Patreons we get, the more bonus episodes we put out. So get on there, tell a friend, give $1. That's all it takes to get everything. If you want some merch and stuff, give a little more. You get a little more, and I think it's all cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm currently working on my first piece of custom art for our
Boom, boom, boom.
some of our high-end patrons.
Yeah, and it's going to be super cool. Maybe you can post a picture
That's
of it.
what I'm going to do.
So,
You read my mind.
I mean, you get original. I mean, it's not a print. It's like
the original
it's like
embroidery. And not one that's been on the
embroidery
site
and
either. It's literally designed for
unless
you.
unless they want one, maybe they like love
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you could
You
like,
could
pick
probably
one.
request it.
Totally.
I don't. We didn't talk about that before. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Are there any you wouldn't part with?
Yeah, no. I totally would part with them. I just think it's fun to like custom make you a piece. And what I've been going with is the patrons get a color print with the embroidery in it, whereas on my site it's black and white photos with embroidery on it. So it's just something a little different.
So so that's at a higher level, but I think it's worth it. And like I said, you get it. Jackie, original artwork framed, sent to you with a little note on the back.
Yeah.
So, and if you want something you've seen on the site, just request it. Send us an email. You can email us or lowclass@lowclass.com, either way. Or there's probably a Patreon
way to contact us.
But either way, if there's something you want, we'd be offering that too. But anyways, that's about it. Patreon.com/lowclass, no dash. What is that? What are you pointing to?
You gotta ask me what I'm sipping on.
Well, I didn't intro you.
Oh,
yet.
this is how it feels.
That's not how it feels.
When someone's directing your hostage.
Well, except you need it. You're just. I was about to get into you, and you just made it. You just pointed at your mug like a child. You're like, mug. All right. So, with me as always, feminist Jackie Manti. Oh, wait, I didn't even say what I was sipping on. See, you messed me up. I was given the holiday schedule. I'm so good at hosting that. Just stop. I was given the holiday schedule with plugs.
Tell us what you're drinking. From my angle, it looks like all I can see is IG in the second word, so it looks like Adobe Iglesias.
It's Adobe Igloo. So racist. Jackie's the
It's
most
not
racist.
racist.
Well, it
It
looks
just
like Southwest print. Is it Iglesias?
no.
Do
How?
all you
Shut up.
people
How
are
is
all you
it?
people
No.
Iglesiases?
How is it that I see an I and a G and I'm like Iglesias,
Does that
and
mean
that's racist?
does that mean glacier in Spanish?
White people can't do anything now without being called racist.
Or you can't do anything racist without being racist. No, Jackie's not racist. She married me
I know.
because she wanted to own a brown. Racism. No. So okay. So the best I could do, besides cleansing my soul, by doing everything right
From
in
your failure.
2018,
Yeah.
is I could try to do the best I could, which is in 2017's last episode. I have another beer from the road, so I just doubled down on the one half of the promise. So I think I've committed. So I was supposed to do two things. I think I've done one and a half things, which is not as bad as one. You know, I could have just been drinking a Tecate, but I got this Adobe.
Yeah, that's true.
I got this Adobe Igloo, another beer from New Mexico, because remember we went to that border town to sneak beer into Texas on a Sunday. Take that, church. So it says Adobe Igloo, come on in, the beer's ready. And I think there's a little
Come on
tag.
into the igloo.
It's Santa Fe Brewing Company. That's the place that brewed it. And
That can is pretty cool.
it's a cool can. It's like Southwest print. And I think it's
I like the colors.
I feel like I've seen a tagline somewhere on here. It says something like New Mexico in a can. Oh, there. It's on the other part of the label. New Mexico in liquid form.
It's a winter ale too.
And it's a winter ale brewed with cacao and chili.
Ooh, that
So,
sounds
like
good.
I said, they're big into chilies. Remember, I did a green chili lager last episode, and that was good. This one has cacao, so chocolate and
cacao.
chili.
Mm-hmm.
So I think chocolate plays. I love chocolate stouts.
Yeah.
And I think chocolate plays well with spice. You know, you have those cayenne spice chocolate bars and stuff. So let's give it a sip. Do not make artificial sip. People, the real thing. Get away from the mic. I don't trust you. Just keep your face away. Turn. It's really good.
Did
It's
you
really
sip extra loud on purpose?
No. I mean, here's you ever heard like a stage whisper?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a stage sip. So it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not like, but it's like I want to enunciate it. You know, it's an enunciation sip. So that's what it was. A stage sip. But it's really good. Like, it's really not heavy. It's not like a stout where it's like that heavy, thick chocolatey or coffee or oatmeal-y taste, but it's got like that kind of robustness of like a chocolate, but it's not like chocolate, just cacao, I guess, because it doesn't say chocolate, it says cacao. It's probably why it's not sweet chocolatey. It's just kind of earthy.
Cacao.
And it doesn't have spice. It just has those kind of florally, grassy notes that like a pepper has before the spice hits, and then it just tastes like like a winter
Grassy,
ale.
that's a good
It's
word.
not thick. It's not thick like a stout.
what you're
It's like
saying.
it's like a Christmas ale but different flavors. Body of a Christmas ale, flavors of a stout. That's what I'd call it.
Nice.
It's good though. It's tasty. I'll sip on it. All right, with me as always, feminist
Yay.
and annoyance to me constantly, Jackie Manty.
Your other half.
Okay, what are you sipping on?
Out of my cool snowman mug that I only use in the winter.
I've begged for you to throw out because it's a seasonal.
I know. Why would I throw it out?
Because it's a seasonal
It's
mug.
literally
I
my
couldn't think of.
no, I have other seasonal.
I couldn't
mugs.
think exactly. I couldn't think of anything more a waste of cabinet space than something you drink
I love him.
one beverage out of seasonally.
You know what it is though? It's my mom got it for me.
That's why I
so
let you keep it.
It's sentimental value.
That's why I let you keep. If you got it from like a Target off the dollar rack,
you know I would have gotten rid of it by that point though too. Yes, come on. I've been getting really good at purging shit because it feels so good.
All right, tell me what's in your mouth,
mug. I made a Poor Girls Starbucks peppermint mocha, and it's really good. Here's why it's Poor Girls, because it's not Starbucks, and also the hot chocolate was something I pilfered from one of our Airbnbs on our road trip.
That is Poor Girl.
Pilfered is not the best word because
It was available for
it
free.
was set out for us to take, but
Yeah.
usually you just don't take shit that you're not going to use that night. But I was
Yeah.
like, hot chocolate, because I hate when you buy a whole box of hot chocolate and then you only use like one or two because you're like in the mood, and then like you just have a box of hot chocolate that sits there for another year, and
Luckily,
everything's
it doesn't
stale.
go bad though.
I know. But
Alright.
talk about cabinet space. Hold on. You just talked for 20 minutes about Adobe
Yeah,
Iglesias.
plug in the podcast.
So I did
You're
in this big
doing
mug.
a stealing
No,
tutorial.
I used a tea kettle for the first time ever. And
I
made
know.
some
Oh God,
hot
Jackie's such
chocolate.
white trash. She's like, all right. So she brings over the. I'm in like the living room. She brings over the tea kettle and goes like, all right. So I fill this with water. I turn like I'm not even joking. I fill it with water. I turn the heat on, and it like whistles at me, and then it's done. And I was like, have you never used a tea kettle before?
No.
And your response was, no, we just heated up our water in the microwave. White trash.
In the microwave, or in like a saucepan on the stove. That's not weird. I just said
I didn't
that's
say it
not
was weird. I said it was trashy.
It's not trashy.
And since you're white, it's white trash.
I feel like you're so weird though that you want to save cabinet space or save space. So like, why would you have a tea kettle when you can just heat water up in different areas of the house? Like
Because to me, again, it's
on the
it's
radiator.
at a different. Oh, gee.
I'm just kidding. Okay,
we had
so
we had our hot plate in our sunroom / storage den, and we would heat up our water in there. That was the water heat room. You guys didn't have a water heat room?
So I filled up half of it with, I used the whole hot cocoa mix, half with hot water, stir, and then just filled it up with coffee, and then I used the my peppermint like creamer.
Okay.
So good.
That's good.
And as I was drinking it, I didn't want to I didn't have any more hot chocolate packets because I just stole one. I just added more coffee and just kept tasting better and better. So I think I would have added a little less hot chocolate, a little more coffee. But it's good. Yeah.
Cool. Good story.
Thanks, bro.
So maybe the lesson is make it for a friend and use half the packet in each.
Totally. Would you drink No, you don't drink coffee.
If you did a decaf, maybe.
Weirdo.
Decaf has just enough caffeine in it. Decaf gives me a buzz.
Oh, man.
It buzzes
You're
me
like
out.
a little baby. A little coffee baby.
I am. I don't do uppers.
Yeah.
I have like no drug tolerance
and like
for uppers.
are my jam.
I know.
I love uppers.
I really think if I did like cocaine, I would straight up die.
Why?
Because
you can't
I have like
handle it.
no tolerance.
Well, that's probably why you don't like it, because your body's like, this is not for us.
But I don't even like those things. Like the thing people like, it makes you feel like this. I'm like, I don't like feeling.
I
like
know
that.
it is funny. You're like, that sounds awful, and I'm like, it's the best.
I know. I just think it's so funny.
You know
like,
what's funny though? I like uppers so I can get more work done.
That's what I'm like. Oh my god! I was just about to say that. To me, it's a bunch of. It's always white people
It's
being
always
like,
white people.
"Oh, I
can do more
I do
work.
Adderall and I get so much work done." They're like, "What'd you do in college?" I was like, "I got B's."
Well, no, I did all the drugs in college, but like as an adult, like I would never choose to do like codeine with alcohol. You know what I mean? Like,
but my point is, didn't you do Adderall to work in college?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I got B pluses and fucking didn't fucking freak out.
Kill your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I did other drugs too. I mean, but fun drugs. Drugs should be fun.
It was fun. That is fun for me.
I know.
I mean, like scientifically, there is a happiness level that comes from achieving things, and like I love that level.
No, it's so funny. It's so weird to me.
I've gotten better about not needing it.
I just feel like my brain is on like everything. You're like, you kind of like turned on and focused, and like your brain's racing, and you talk people's ears off, and you're like,
no, I'm not like a talker.
Well, either way, I'm like, yeah, my brain is on. I feel like I have cocaine brain. Like I need drugs to like.
It's not like that. My brain's on. It's that you're able to focus on one thing and like focus for a long time.
Yeah, I can do that. I guess that's what I want out of my drugs.
And it's kind of like what you were talking about last episode, where you're like, I just have watched 3 hours of a video.
I researched live for 3 hours. But I could do that with productive stuff. We said that my point was, like, the reason I did the live thing is because literally, again, like I told you, it's that brain trickery where I'm in bed already. And I have something on the TV that I'm going to fall asleep to. It's midnight.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I had to get up early the next day, or wanted to get up early the next day, I should say. And I was like, all right, well, you got to go to bed. And so when I'm like, well, let me look up this one live fact just real quick on Wikipedia. So I looked it up on my phone, And so that was like my thing. Like if I would have told my brain like, "Hey, you're not going to go to bed for 3 hours. Why don't you go up like get up out of bed, go to the computer and do some productive work." I would have been like, "I can't start work now. It's midnight. Like I can't get up and start work. I have to get up early." But my brain tricks itself by going, but if you're looking on your phone in bed, like you're still in bed, you're probably going to look it up and fall right to sleep. And then I used to get lost in it. It's like 3 hours later. So I can focus on real things. It, that's not the problem. The problem is the trickeration in my brain to get to that real thing, which is what we're working on in 2018
2018, babe.
with craft holiday cocktails
Heck yeah.
because I commit to promises in 2018, which I think I always did decently, but I'm going to do it better
Yeah.
for the listener
Yeah.
and myself,
And yourself.
for everybody. But yeah, I said like when I want a drug, I want two kinds of drugs. So my drugs of choice, really the only drugs I do, smoke weed, drink beer. Because I feel like I get really shy in social situations.
So you want beer?
Beer lets me be the person I always wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then when I get home and want to relax, I want to watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie and not get like fucking existential about my career shortfallings or the fucking, finiteness of life. And so I just like take 1.5 hits. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And I can just watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and be like, the ninjas and the turtles, this is fun.
This is so fun.
This is what I just always wanted to just be able to just zone in, like, it just have that just ethereal pleasure, and that's what weed gives me. It just lets me like,
yeah, I love weed because I don't talk. I'm not a talker. I get real weird. I want to be alone. Well, I want to be like with you, but like we'll watch stuff. But like I can smoke, close my eyes, and I see like images and like art just shifting in my head. Like it's awesome, and like that's what I love. Yeah, I don't think I can do any other drugs ever again because I'm such an addict. Like I think about doing cocaine, and I'm like, part of the pleasure of doing cocaine was that I could then, it would make me want to smoke a whole pack of cigarettes, and then I'd smoke a pack of cigarettes, and that was fun. Like, and now that I'm a sober person, I'm like, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't mind that you smoke, because you do it occasionally. And you don't seem like any inkling to be like addicted to it.
No, it's just self-awareness. I think getting sober, and really that didn't happen for like a year and a half in. It's like you get this self-awareness, because once you get past all the like triggers and like getting through those really hard moments of like, I really want to drink right now, or like, oh, I feel guilt about not drinking with this person. Where does that come from? Oh my God, I'm codependent. You know what I mean? Like, going through all that, you're like, oh, like, this is just sort of a gross thing that I do.
Well,
I don't know. So, like, cigarettes I know are like that. So, like, I know I'm very self-aware of, like, if I have more than 2 or 3, like, I'm going to smoke the whole pack, so I need to throw it out and then not smoke for, like, a month and a half, you know?
Or ever.
Or ever.
'Cause I miss you.
But yeah, but like I'm not like a smoker. But I do like. Well, but I think
it's like, well, the other thing is like, I mean, I think the most important thing, and I think this is everyone should have. I mean, I think again, I think we've given plenty, even though you've chosen to be sober and I don't do a vast variety of drugs. I think we've all given. I think both of us have given like a pretty libertarian, open-minded view on like drug use and drug policy, and so it's more to that, like, what's your choice, and it's like about awareness, you know. That's like,
you need education about it,
right? And so I guess my point is about also smoking. It's not only that you don't show addictive tendencies towards marijuana, and that marijuana probably has less addictive tendencies physically than a lot of other drugs. It's just that like you said, like, you smoke weed, you know, every once in a while you get a little anxious, but mostly you just kind of sit and stare and maybe say
cool
one profound thing, and then like 2 hours later you fall
forget
asleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, it has never threatened to ruin our relationship, and we can't speak of that of the other substances you have taken.
That's why we
you know what I mean?
up.
So it's like, so again, it's not like if you were like, let me just have one drink, I would didn't really get like anxiety about like you and our relationship and what this like,
you would get anxiety.
It would
if
terrify
I said,
me.
Oh, okay.
Or if I just came home,
Did
you're
you
like
feel
sipping
like that
on
when I told you I had a glass of champagne at my bachelorette party?
Totally.
Yeah.
But when you're like, but like last night, and we didn't even doing it because we just came home, went to sleep. But you're like, oh, like we were out, and you're like, or was this 2 nights ago, and we're out, or maybe it was last night. Doesn't matter. It was recently, and you're like, oh, let's go home and smoke weed and watch that. Like we were talking about watching something. I was like,
Bob Ross.
It doesn't. Yeah, about fucking Ross. It doesn't, like, I don't feel that. I'm not like, oh man, here it goes. You know,
which is
like,
part of why I don't want to drink ever again. But also, like, I and this is why we had to break up for me to learn this, because we had to break up and get enough distance from each other for me to do it all on my own and for myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just stop drinking for you. Like, that
Right.
was never going to work. That doesn't work long term. I would have just resented you. But, after like a year being broken up and like you not really being part of my life, but alcohol still being part of my life, I was like, oh shit, this is real.
Well, and that's why
You know what I mean? And
right.
then, so then when I think maybe you weren't as afraid when I was like, I had a glass of champagne and was like, I can't ever do this again because I wanted the whole bottle. And it had been a year and a half of not drinking. And even then I was like, I want all of these.
Yeah.
Give me Bloody Mary. You know what I mean? Like I could, but the only enough time, like I had to have a year and a half between that and my last drink to like recognize it and feel it happening in my body. You know what I mean? Where before, like, I just had no body awareness. I couldn't feel any
and
of
I
that
guess that's the
happening.
thing is like that's kind of like what I'll say. We gotta move on to topics, but this was a good
I know,
chat. Say that it's never to say what happened wasn't good. It's just to captain the fucking ship.
but
Because only men can be
oh
captains.
Jesus.
I'm just kidding. But basically, like, that's kind of what I mean. Is like you have those people out there who just booze and they turn shitty
Yeah.
very quickly. And it's kind of just like, I'm not saying you have a problem with alcohol, like you can't stop. I'm saying you have a problem with alcohol, like it makes you a problem. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe just like take a fucking edible and go to the football game. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. You
It's
know what
just
I mean?
it's
Like,
not legal.
or like I
So
said,
like
if you don't have addiction problems, but you have reaction problems, try drinking like a beer an hour. And as long as you can control that, then that maybe that lower level makes you less of an animal. Or like I said, try
yeah,
another
but like for
drug or
people
try.
like me, that's not possible.
I
Because
know,
you
but
used to try to get me
I
to do
think
that,
there's
and
people that are totally can't stop. I think there's people like you that like can't stop in the moment
yeah.
and are ugly. But I think there's people that are just ugly on it. And like, but maybe like they don't have like I don't know. I'm just saying that's my whole point. Again, it's like we said. It's like, but there's no education. The education is like
Well, you don't
drugs
have
are all
other options.
drugs are all bad. Every user is an abuser, and
Yeah.
just don't even do it. But also like with this like blind eye to the fact that people are gonna do it. So how do we like manage that? It's like everything, right? It's just like fucking. It's like, oh well, what's the best way to not get diseases or babies? Don't fuck. And
Well,
it's
and
like,
like
okay, but everyone's fucking. So like, let's not legislate a utopia. Like that's I feel like we try to do all the time, like legislate a utopia. Like, well, if no one fucks until they're in a monogamous relationship, then it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, but that's never gonna happen. So can we like teach kids and write laws and do life like people are just gonna fuck, and then we could deal with that? And it's like, but if people don't fuck, it's like, stop. And that's the same thing with drugs. Like, well, if no one did drugs, like, okay, well, everyone's gonna do them. Everyone has from the beginning of time till some fucking since some caveman chewed a cocoa leaf. Everyone's been doing drugs. So let's just accept it as a fact, and let's legislate based on the fact that let's teach based on the fact that that's
yeah,
happening.
that and like I think that there are, having dealt with like recovery myself and having like in my early 20s I dated a full-fledged alcoholic. Like I'm on the tail end of the spectrum of alcoholism. He was on this end. You know what I mean? But like trying to find recovery resources for him that didn't cost $1 million was impossible. It was so difficult. Like having those resources available to people instead of like handcuffs. Do you know what I mean? Like turn yourself in, we'll get you the fucking help so you don't have to go through a court case to then get into a rehab program. Do you know what I mean? Like that's about how it happens now. You got to do something wrong or turn yourself in and take the charge, and then you'll get help. It's ridiculous. It takes all the humanity out of it. Anyway.
All right, let's go to topic one. Topic one, ladies. In your constant strive for equality, you've been harassing men on the workplace.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
ladies. Yas, queen.
I love it when you do it.
Yas, queen. Grab that dick. Grab your dick. They let you do it. So
I'll just grab him by the dick when I'm famous.
So good job, broads. You're doing it.
Mm.
Yes, you can. So the new person I'm with is Andrea Ramsey. She's a dirty, dirty dog. No.
She didn't do it.
Oh, sounds like someone's a rape apologist.
I am not.
Oh, this is fun. I know why you guys do this now. Now, all right, let's get down to serious talk. Andrea Ramsey. So she was running for Congress in Kansas. She was a Democratic candidate, and she was forced to. I guess you could say forced to. I mean, she did it, but it doesn't. It seems like in a way where she's not happy about it. But she basically ended her run for Congress because she was accused of sexual harassment. And I think her statement, which I'll read, kind of sums up what happened. It says, I'll just read the full statement, it's not very long. 12 years ago, I eliminated an employee's position. That man decided to bring a lawsuit against the company, in parentheses, not against me. He named me in the allegations, claiming I fired him because he refused to have sex with me. That is a lie. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission investigated the allegations and decided not to pursue the complaint. The man later decided to voluntarily dismiss the lawsuit because I wasn't a named party. I didn't have any. Oh, sorry, I read that weird. The man later decided to voluntarily dismiss the lawsuit, period. Because I wasn't a named party, I didn't have an opportunity to participate in its resolution. So, basically, she, in another statement, said that these were false allegations and they were brought up by a disgruntled, vindictive employee. And, I mean, it seems like she was given some relative due process. There was a lawsuit civilly. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't seem like there was a criminal investigation, but there was this Equal Employment Opportunity Commission investigation. They didn't turn up anything.
Which is an independent from her.
Yeah,
her
it's not like her, because we've seen that shit where
internal
yeah, like, well, the Uber division of employment fairness didn't find Uber doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
so
of course they didn't.
Yay, it looks like everything's okay. So yeah, it seems fine. But she had to drop out anyways for what looks like something she kind of cleared her name on. Now, here's the thing, is I feel like you're going to get a lot of douches posting the story saying douche things. I think the story is either douche it or not douche it. I'd like to not douche it. I don't want to
douche.
I'm not here to It's true though.
True.
Don't douche. But anyways, shower, you know.
Yeah.
But we do. Men also shower. Wash your dick. Do
Equal
people
shower.
wash their dick? I scrub my dick with the soap. Not like in a way that I'm
Do you wash
ashamed
your
of it.
butthole?
Yeah. I run the soap down my crack.
Yeah.
And I always do it last so I don't rub crack juice over me.
Thanks, babe.
And then I rinse the soap because I know you use the soap.
Thank you.
So.
I don't. I should rinse the soap. Huh?
You do the crack?
I'm
don't
just
rinse?
kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You're using the voice of you're not kidding. Start rinsing the soap. God damn it.
It's soap. Do you need
but
to
just
rinse
run it. I'm not saying like you can scrub it like an OCD person, but just run it under the water.
Okay.
It's probably does nothing, but it feels like it's a polite thing.
Yeah.
Rinse the soap. You live with another person. God damn it. I've been
You've
cleansing
been
my butt soap.
And
I've been getting your butt juice all over me. God damn it. I hate you so much. So anyways, fucking women. So this is one thing bad 80s comedy did not fucking prepare me for. Butt juice. There's always just, does my butt look big in these pants arguments. Come on, 80s comedy, you fucking failed me. And humor. So Andrea Ramsey. So the reason I do want to bring this up is, like I said, I think that a lot of people who are genuinely empathetic towards the plight of women in American society. I mean, we could say the world, but let's focus on America on this. Can empathize with the plight of women in American society. Think that there clearly is problems with sexual harassment in the workplace and rape at large, but thinks that preserving due process and things like that is still also important. And that we should manage the way women are allowed to bring up these things, how these things are handled by people in judicial and legislative things, the cops not laughing at you, the fucking justice system not testing your rape kit. That's all bad. We all want to fix that. But we also want that there, so then the due process can go and be fair to the men and the woman. Or again, like in this case, the accuser and the accused. Now, again, like I said, I'm not douching this. I'm not saying like, see, it happens to men too. It clearly happens to women more, these kind of things. But the fact is I just think this case is a great thing to bring up because it strips away all the loaded fucking bullshit where it's like you want to talk about one case or you want to talk about the way cases work or the way society works, and always you got to just deal with this barrage of like, but in the patriarchal system and you just get university awards thrown at you, right? Like everyone that's taken one women's studies class just wants to like lob big like cis normative
intersectional. I know.
Yeah, which is fine. It's not like those things are bad, but it's like I'm talking about how our justice system runs.
Right.
So like I know society influences, it's like What comes first, chicken or egg? I know that influences this and this influences that. I know it's all intertwined, but also in a way, it's not intertwined. You're also choosing it to intertwine it in this conversation. So what I like about this is, again, I'll defend this woman against this man by saying, I don't know what she's done. I don't know who she is. I just know that the reason she had to drop out of a running for something is based on a claim by someone that dropped their lawsuit and that an independent investigation couldn't find her doing anything wrong again. So she should be allowed to run. Like, she should
And
be.
they found those results before he dropped it. You know, like, I think
Yeah.
that's important.
So I guess it's just like, again, like, that's why I like this case. It's not like that it's some groundbreaking case where I think the details are something super interesting or revealing, but it's just like, okay, now can you understand when I defend some men, or again, not even defend the men? I'm using, like, why you defend? I'm not defending this guy, whichever guy it is. I'm just saying sometimes you do things in a fucked up way towards people, and you don't think about it, and you use mob mentality, and you throw away things that are very American. And also, like, maybe you do a lot of, like, with people like an Al Franken, you do a lot of, like, baby and bathwater, get out the fucking window at the same time. And I think, again, like, so just to prove I'm not a douche, and that most people aren't douche, men or women, because women get called out for defending these things too, fucking rape apologists, fucking all that shit. Like, women who defend stuff, I think, again, like, we would all get together and say, like, yes, this woman was also kind of fucked over. Like, she wasn't really given a fair shot, because when she did it the right way, she defended herself, and there's nothing on the other side for her but get the fuck out. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah, so in this story, I wanted to read Ramsey's statement, because she had harsh words for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, who I think is who, like, pushed her out, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to read it verbatim. In its rush to claim the high ground in our roiling national conversation about harassment, the Democratic Party has implemented a zero-tolerance standard. For me, that means a vindictive, terminated employee's false allegations are enough for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee to decide not to support our promising campaign. We are in a national moment where rough justice stands in place of careful analysis, nuance, and due process. I think that last sentence says it all.
Yeah.
We are in a national moment where rough justice stands in place of careful analysis, nuance, and due process.
And look, some women want their justice rough, and that doesn't make them bad feminists. But it's when you make them take on rough justice. That's assault.
Due process is the word that keeps coming up. So the DCCC, right, responded, and they said, members and candidates must all be held to the highest standard. If anyone is guilty of sexual harassment or sexual assault, that person should not hold public office. Hell yeah, I agree, Democratic Party.
But
except she wasn't guilty. And like you said, there was a process that this case went through, and she was found not guilty.
If she was the boss of this guy and she was a high up executive, it says she was an executive. I don't know what that means, but women can have power too.
Totally.
And women, just like men, anyone in power can use their power. So I don't know.
Abuse of power should never be surprising.
But I'm
right?
saying even in these
Men
proceedings, maybe there was some fuckery. Maybe she paid off someone. Maybe she just had the more expensive lawyers. This poor guy couldn't do it. Maybe just like women, this poor guy was like, I'm too traumatized. I don't want to go through it. Just drop the lawsuit. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I'm saying there's no proof of it. So you got to go with what happened, which was nothing happened. You know what I mean? So again, so I'm not saying I'm not saying here it's like, well, the courts are fine and these independent commissions are without reproach, so let's just keep the status quo. I'm saying, fine, make these things better. Let them investigate things better, give them a better budget, give victims more resources to civilly sue or criminally sue. Mm-hmm. You can do that stuff. But again, like, as it stands, these institutions, I just think, like, these institutions aren't broken. Even the things that happen to black men in these institutions, like the judiciary and stuff, like, it's not broken. It's just systematically fucked up. But I think the system is changeable, and that's fucking me saying it. And I'm ready to kill cops in the streets, and I think it's the judiciary is still fixable
because it's so clearly like stacked up against a minority group. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easily identifiable. We know the problem.
Right.
You are racist. You know,
right.
The system
does that make sense though? Because I know I took it in like a different tangent, so I don't want to talk about this topic like 3 hours because of what I said. Like, black men still get a raw deal, but it's a raw deal that they get before they get to the courtroom.
Right.
So I think it's something you could fix in the courtroom and also fix by like just helping um, communities. And so the same way, I think like you can help women. Again, don't take down politicians and actors and all these people. I mean, some of them, the ones that have committed crimes and stuff, but like, don't just take down them. Bolster women, and then women will be a bolstered community that can then take these things more effectively to these
If you empower the women,
places
you're empowering
to
them.
these places that we can hopefully may fund and fix, and then they'll do their job better and we'll know who's guilty, who's not, what punishment they should get, blah blah blah. Like I there's a lot of things I call for revolution on. So when I say this, like I mean it. I think the judiciary system and how we deal with harassment and assault, I think it's fixable. I don't think it's time. I think it's fixable. I really do.
This isn't helping though. Like
And
I,
this is super
this
not
is,
helping.
and in fact, I even think Al Franken was not helping. I think the Democrats, the National Party, saw Hillary Clinton lose, and I think part of it was because people didn't want to vote for her because of what her husband did, and the way the Democrats handled that. It was very much a moment of like, they didn't stand up for Monica or women or you know what I mean. So I feel like there's this like, we got to overcorrect. They're overcompensating for
Can I ask you a question?
paying the price of that.
Because like I don't care really about the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, but you seem more invested in actual like day to day quote unquote politics as opposed to just like social issues. Not
I'm
a
just
ton.
like, I'm
More
a
than me.
registered independent, but I'm a Democrat. You know what I mean?
And
Like
that's why I
I
wanna
like having that option
And
open.
that's why I want to ask you this. Now I know
Right.
you don't want to foster a party of monsters. No one would, and I
Yeah.
don't think even Republicans want that. At least most of them. I'm just saying that. Do you think there's this weird situation where, if you have a quote unquote monster, let's boot him, right? That's just common sense.
Yeah.
But when you have someone like Franken, who it's like, I don't know, is he weird? Is he creepy? Are these people lying? Like, is it some mix of all of that? Like
The fact that he
Hold on, let
called
me-
for an investigation, they didn't
Yeah.
even get to the moment where they could do that. His party forced him out. That's
right.
a problem.
Okay, but my point is like, so he seems like a good politician, at least by politician standards. He seems intelligent, seemed like he was always pushing for things that liberals would want, that I think frankly would just be better for society as a whole. And whatever, like he was this fresh new voice trying to do good things for the American public. And then he makes these kind of semi unsubstantiated mistakes, or just kind of like, again, like the boob grab over a flak jacket, not look like, again, like uncouth, but doesn't seem like.
Well, don't make excuses
But
for it. But
it's
like,
not excuses. But my point is, all right, here's the
it
point.
happened before he was in office.
But here's the point. He did that, and he leaves. And the Democrats, because they're the dumbest thing I've ever seen as a group, go like, well, we're going to get rid of him. And then that'll prove that if we're going to get rid of boobs over the flak jacket, you got to get rid of Pussy Grabber MD, right? Like, you got to. Because if we're getting rid of that guy's worse than that. You got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And then the Republicans are like, no.
Right.
And then like you're dumping good people, and they're keeping their good people. Because Donald Trump's not good like he's a good president, but good like people support him. Like his party supports him. Like, again, like people would be mad if you got rid of him. Like his supporters would be mad if you got rid of him, just like Franken's supporters were mad if you got rid of him. But like their supporters get to keep their guy, and the other ones don't. So I guess like to me, this is the question. Do you feel that even though they think like we're doing great, we're going to be the moral party, everyone's going to vote for that, aren't they hurting? To me, it's almost like they're basically saying there's no steroid rule in baseball, and one team went, well, there's no rule, so we're going to use steroids, and then another team went like, well, steroids are bad, so we're not going to use them, and then the other team with the steroids is just killing, and they're just like, okay, but we are morally superior, and so we'll get more fans. It's like, no one wants to be fans of the losers. Like, let's strike a balance.
It's not even about being fans of the losers. It's that, what's disappointing to me in all of it is that I feel like the Democratic Party, the reason I'm a Democrat, is that their belief system and policies really embrace the, again, nuance of the human experience, right? And how you can be in poverty but trying to work your way to the top. You can be rich as fuck and a monster, or you can be rich as fuck and the nicest guy ever who donates to all these you know what I mean? Like there seems to be it's not so black and white to Democrats. At least that's what my interpretation of it and what I've seen and
You
what
mean two Republicans,
you can.
though?
What?
You mean it's not black
No,
and
in
white? Oh.
general, no. Democrats don't see life as black and white, right?
But
Like
it
it is.
seems like they
Hold
do,
on,
right? Okay.
I'm.
Oh, I get you
That's
saying.
why I like.
Got
That's
you.
why I'm a
You're
Democrat, right?
surprised politics
The
that way.
reason I am disappointed in this stuff and kind of find it alarming is that there isn't. They're not
Yeah.
standing up for due process. They're not standing up for, because it just reminds me again of the Clinton era, but like flipped, you know, where they're like, well, it's this or nothing. You know what I mean? Just no nuance, no like, let's take our time and look at this. Like, that's what would keep me on their side, is like, they don't even have to stand up for this Ramsey candidate necessarily, but like, do not push her out. Like, get that independent investigation of your team, or, you know, whatever. Like,
Right.
let Franken's past go through that system, and then you decide if you want to push him out or not. Like, it feels like they're just making choices for us too, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what I want.
But
What
that's
was
my
your
point.
question?
Well, I just feel like it seems like I just, like I said, like, if one side is like, we're gonna throw
Oh.
out our sexual harassers no matter what the charge, and
Oh,
again, even if they're
what-
and even if they're good candidates, and the other side is like, we're gonna keep all our candidates as long as they're a good candidate. Like, that's why they kept Roy Moore. They kept Roy Moore because they're
Right.
like, he's a good candidate. He could win, so we're gonna keep him. I bet if Roy Moore was polling at 30, they'd be like, yeah, get rid of him. But they keep all their guys that have a chance of winning or are already in a seat of power, and it just seems like it gives them this huge advantage.
And speaking of Roy Moore, the man who beat him, Doug Jones, I agree with him. I think Donald Trump's a terrible president. I want him out. Like, I think he's bad for America.
But you're willing to wait 3 years for
hold
it.
on. Doug Jones said, I am not going to join the calls for Trump to resign because of these sexual harassment charges, because the people knew about all of these before
Yeah.
we voted for him. So we got to keep, and I agree with that. I agree that, like, we knew about it, and that's where the fucking problem is. It's not, I mean, Donald Trump is a problem, but the bigger problem is that, you know, 53% of white women still voted for Roy Moore, or the people don't care. They put Trump in office even when he had a rape charge against him. Like, those are big problems. And you know Trump's not going to, it just feels so stupid to see the party like, see, and now we got rid of ours. Time for you to get rid of yours, and we're going to tell mom. Like, it's not going to it's not going to happen. Trump's not
but
leaving.
haven't we talked about
that
before? They're the party of style, no substance. They're the party of grand gestures but no thing.
I just think it is. We are ripe for a third party to take.
But again, where is
all these young
but
voters,
where is the Democratic sit-in to stop the net neutrality vote? Where is the coalition
right. That's what
coming
I want.
together to stop that? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or any of these things.
Or the Dreamers, like something. Like, I don't care about. I mean, obviously I care about this, but it's like the parties have just latched onto this again. Like she's saying, this national conversation, this moment that is very important and fucking beautiful. I love what's happening with women saying no more. Like, this is not. You cannot do this anymore. This kind of shit ruins it. You know,
Right.
where like it's not gonna get. We're not going to keep progressing it because you have just like, it's sort of like when, you know, a giant brand finds out about something cool and like underground with like lots of authenticity to it, and then like turns it into like, you know, we copyrighted it. Like, you know what I'm trying to say.
I just
like,
think
it feels like they're taking advantage of a very personal and like revolutionary moment for women and victims, male or female, and turning it into a political move that's gonna hurt everyone. You know what I mean? Because this woman is running in, they're pushing in this district of Kansas because Hillary Clinton outpolled Donald Trump there.
But that's what
and
that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine.
So now we're gonna have more Republicans.
Imagine you're an independent registered Democratic voting person, and Al Franken is your congressman, and you like him. You've been following him since he's been in Congress. You like what he does. As long as it's Franken, you're going to vote for Franken. And then they kick him out, and then they're like, but that's okay. We'll just run another Democrat who's a good person. Like, isn't there a part of you that's like, okay, but yeah, like I might not like that guy.
Right.
Maybe I'll vote third party. Maybe I'll vote Republican. Maybe I just won't show up. Maybe this guy or woman that you put in his place to run, maybe I don't like him.
And
So
again,
like,
what I like about Democrats is we are more likely to be like, I'm not gonna vote the way you fucking tell me to. And in fact,
right,
when I feel like you're pushing something dogmatic onto me,
right,
like you said, I'm not gonna show up, or I'm gonna vote, or I'm just gonna, like, not believe in it as much as if you had like. Not that you had to stand up for Al Franken, just like trust the process of
right.
due
So
process.
like I said, I mean, this woman, like again, I don't know a ton about her. You don't really, maybe
Oh,
either, but like, excuse me, she is a woman. You know, you seem like someone
I
that
would
like
vote for her
all
'cause she's
things
a
being
woman.
equal, you
Yeah.
know, all things being equal.
I'd pick
I
a
don't think you'd
woman.
vote for a shitty woman, but I'm saying like all
Right,
things being
right.
equal, as long as she seems like a good Democrat, you'd be like she's a good Democrat, which I like anyways, and if she's a woman,
Or-
maybe I'm extra motivated. What if they
right,
kick
right,
her
right.
out and run some guy,
Yeah.
and he's a decent guy, or maybe he's like kind of the same views, but then there's these couple other views that like you're like, I don't really like those views. Like you could be, I mean, you always vote because you fucking love voting, but like I could see you at some point in your life get, you know, kind of disillusioned enough to be like, I like that woman. I don't like this guy. I'm just gonna stay home. You lost a vote, dumb
It
party.
just makes me nervous.
You know, like isn't but don't you that's
Um,
reasonable, right? That they could lose votes by kicking people out, thinking that like, well, we'll just get another person who's better. And it's like, maybe I don't want some maybe I wanted them.
I just get so nervous about the type of, when we're saying, I don't know, just, you know, what am I trying to say? Like, you're forcing out, not, I don't know whether these people are good or bad, but like flawed humans, right? Because you're a human being, you're gonna have fucked up in some way. We've talked about this before. Like, I want that out in the open. I want it talked about. I want that. That was the appeal of Donald Trump to these fucking idiots. But I get it. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. We're sick and tired of these like perfect shiny politicians that are hiding something terrible in their closet. Like, this just makes me feel like, okay, so who are you gonna pull out, and like, what if he's that good at hiding what he's done that's wrong, like, or he's just I think Barack Obama's just a total nerd, you know what I mean, which is fine, but like, it scares me what kind of candidates you're going to pull in, and like, the type of people that are still attracted to being in politics. Like, I would never want to enter politics, even though like that's how you change the world, right? But like, it seems like such a disreputable field, and when you keep like, I even like we're trying to make it good, because anyone, we have such high standards, and if you do anything wrong, you're out. Like, that doesn't work, because we're human. So like, there's gonna be something. It's gonna be the people who can hide it well, or who have the money to hide it well, like, that are gonna be in office, and then they're running our country. Do you know what I mean? Do you see like the
Yeah.
dominoes
Yeah.
falling?
Well,
That
that's
it's just
kind of what I was trying to say. If one
yeah.
party is gonna adhere to this
Adhere.
and just assume that I know, and just
It's cute.
assume that the other one will, and they're clearly not, you're
Yeah.
just dumping. You might dump some straight monsters who had no political value, but you're gonna have some casualties. And the point is, the other one isn't doing that, so
And
they're
again,
losing no
you
one.
know what also fucking infuriates me is that this feels like a ploy to get me to keep voting for you, Democrats. Fuck
Right.
off. It didn't work when the Republicans put Sarah Palin in, because they're like, well, she's a woman, and
It
clearly
is
they
kind
want
of
a woman,
almost as gross
and
as
she's
that,
an idiot.
right?
Yes, and that's what makes me
Yeah. Good
so
point.
angry too. Is like, and look, we even did it to women, because I've even said like, I know women who sexually harass. You know what I mean? Like, it does. It's not as prevalent, right? But like, I just feel like they're jumping on this, like, see, women, we care about everyone and all victims, and because feminists care about all victims. Like, it feels like I'm trying to be tricked into keeping and like,
And
it feels a little more innocent than Republicans, probably because I am a Democrat. So like, I just
but it's still
I
it's
trust
still
that,
to
like,
someone like you it feels
it
disingenuous
feels
and
so forced,
there's nothing worse than that
right,
because politics is already so slimy anyways.
exactly.
It's like at least
And
come
I
on
expect, the reason I'm a Democrat is I expect better from you, and I expect you to be
and
smarter
not
than
this
that.
kind of better because that's what
Yeah,
they
that's what they're latching onto. Yes,
is that we're better and it's like
absolutely.
you're actually worse because you're manipulating something through an important issue
Right,
as a
and especially something that, like I said, is so personal, and like we're in a like a hot moment right now where things are changing, and it's like, these are very personal stories, whole careers that have been derailed because of abusive power, in the Hollywood, for example. But like, even just personally, like, this is all like this Me Too moment, like that brings up shit for me, like any person who's been through anything traumatic sexually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it feels like, oh, this is our time, like, do you guys see, like, this is happening and we're on it too. It just
Well,
feels so,
yeah,
it's just so politics, right? Like it's like their
I know.
shiny slicked back hairdo from my pain, you know? It just, oh,
Right.
it's
I
so
think I'll
frustrating.
bring this up more in the bonus episode, tease. But because it's about Louis, but like I think it could be applied to anything. But I think his case would be an interesting talk on this, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But just to like kind of touch on it, and then we got to move on. But like just kind of like the thing about too, it is this kind of weird thing when you kind of like. Again, I agree. I empathize with women. I don't think this is just straight up bad. Just like, oh, women are talking about stuff. This is gonna end bad. Like that would be dumb to say. But like, I just think that it's the justice part of it, the equation that really grosses me out. Not so much the bringing it up or figuring out what to do or deciding how to handle this better. It's basically the lack of that. It's not the deciding how to handle this better. It's the like we figured out how to handle it better, and it's us just annihilating people from society for any reason that we deem fit. That's the answer. It's like, no, let's search together for an answer. But I agree there
Yeah.
should be one, and I do empathize with the fact that you feel like you haven't even had the discussion for one in forever. I
Yeah.
can empathize with that. And I just think that it is also weird too that like even if you want to use that kind of justification that like, well, these crimes should be punished by jail time or whatever, and since we are not getting that jail time justice, we want equitable social justice. And then you think about it and you're like, okay, but like so far from straight up in your body with my body rape to like a bad joke has been like
On the same
you
level.
must never work in your profession again and you
Yeah.
will be shunned. So it's like that where's the justice? To me that would be the
And
same hold
and
on like that would be the same as like you put fucking Harvey Weinstein and Al Franken in court and it's like okay life in prison for both of you and it's like what
yeah.
that's not how just so again if you're saying well we're doing a social court to make up for the failings of a like a civil or a criminal court all right I think that's kind of gross but if you feel that oppressed you know I'm not opposed to revolution I don't think this needs it but again I'll follow your line of thinking down this at least what is your plan all right well the plan is death penalty socially for everyone that's accused of everything it's like well, it sounds like you're bad. It sounds bad. It doesn't sound metered. Like again, like why can't society demand Al Franken resign from the ethics committee but stay in the Senate? Why can't they demand that he donates his salary for a year to a rape crisis center or something? Like those things don't not matter. Like those things why don't you
Or develop a set of like what are the rules for pursuing something like this 10 years after the fact? Like how do
right.
we what kind of what does justice look like in that sort of situation where you know like develop a system, a protocol of like here's what we do, we ask these questions of the victim and these questions of the accused and then here's how we figure out we can't do anything legally but here's sort of you know a framework for how we handle this sort of conversation and you know and provide justice and make women feel believed but also not completely remove due process in our country like what always and I knew it doesn't surprise me that a few weeks after all of this we now have a woman. I'm surprised it's not a black person honestly because they seem to get it before yeah, whatever like that's always that's what has scared me because it's like you know it's coming down for the rest of us like it's just got to take it'll just be give it some time and it'll you know what I mean like we'll overcorrect and now all of us are in jail you know what I mean and like and yeah, I'll admit my own bias like this woman I believe her like so, you know like
Oh, you believe them all. You hashtag believe
I
her. I don't care if you're a victim or
but
accuser.
also
Hashtag believe her.
I just again it's sort of like this idea that there's no such thing as reverse racism. Not that men can't be sexually harassed, like that's not what I'm saying. I've been in situations where women say inappropriate things to men and they're the only man in the room. It's so different. Like I don't
Well,
know. I like
we
it's
gotta move on,
yeah.
and I would be remiss if I didn't address this on the close because I know we've had intelligent
I sexually
conversation.
harass you.
But well, no, I know we have to have intelligent discussion throughout most of the topic. But I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't bring this up at the end just to close out. Looking up pictures of her now. Pretty decent looking. Come on, man. What are you doing?
Who?
Just dick her down and take that promotion, man. Andrea Ramsey. Not that bad
Oh,
looking.
shut up.
Dick her
Stop
down
it.
and take that
No.
promotion.
I hate you.
Especially by politicians. I've had way worse looking lady bosses.
All right, let's move on. So,
right.
topic 2. Topic 2. I want to talk about this story that came out a few days ago.
Yes, please explain this thoroughly because
Okay.
I read
and
3
some
articles
stuff
on
just
it
happened.
and I'm
You
still
don't get it.
confused at what it even means, and I kind of have a thought on why that is, but I will still let you kind of try to explain this as best you can.
It was blown up, and now there's more to the story that no one's going to share. Included.
Oh, what?
So,
that doesn't sound like America.
So the Washington Post reported that there was a directive delivered to senior CDC officials responsible for overseeing the health agency's budget that there were 7 words that the CDC was no longer to use, and like. The report was that this had been handed down from the Trump administration, and those words were diversity, entitlement, evidence-based, fetus, science-based, transgender, and vulnerable. So it was an unnamed source, an analyst just said that these top officials at CDC just reported this to the staff, like, we're not to use these words in our budget. Basically, they're trying to get funds for the budget, right, and they're worried. What was confusing is, like, did this come from the Trump administration, or was it that the CDC officials were like, we're not as we want from this government that's super conservative, right? Like, if we want this money, we can't use these words, fetus, transgender. Like, they offered other
now, do we
phrases
figure
to use
out
instead
where
of
it came
science-based.
from?
No,
Is
no.
This, oh, okay.
It's still sort of the so there was follow-up reporting where, like, they're like, well, asking that question, but then earlier today, the CDC's director on her Twitter was like, I want to assure you there are no banned words at CDC. We will continue to talk about all our important public health programs. So basically, if there was something like that, and there probably was, like, I'm betting it was, like, internal. And then, and I do think that's what happened. But, it is still being sparked by the Trump administration's rhetoric and their approach to these issues, right?
But that's what I was saying. When you talk about banned words, like, obviously,
basically, it's banned is strong. That's not
well,
what they're not
obviously
banned.
that's
it's
a
just
trigger
like,
for
don't
me
use it. Right.
as a free speech advocate.
All of us. That's why
well,
that
mostly
story.
me, though. I'm going to take ownership of this. That it affects me the most.
Okay.
I am the biggest victim of all the victims. No, but I guess, like, when I hear banned, it's still confusing because, like, people got so upset. And so my point is, when I hear, like, you can't use the word transgender, it's like, okay, does that mean, like, that can still be, like, a hateful, weird thing, but does that mean the CDC can't talk about transgender people at all?
And that's the way the headline made it seem, but that's not true.
Or it means they would have to go, like, people of non-identifying genders will get this much money.
Right. It was
and
more,
it's like,
it was a technique to help secure Republican approval of the budget.
Well, then it seems actually good, right?
No, well, not good.
Not
like,
good.
It's not good that we're in that kind of environment.
It's not good we have to do it, but it's good.
But it is good.
It's not good we're in the environment, but it's good we have people that are willing to, like,
listen,
to give money for people as best they can with whatever strategy they have to.
And this is our strategy to do it against the Republicans.
Now, and again, we don't know that's 100% where this memo came from.
I think that is. I don't know.
But it does make the most sense. Because to me, I was like, why would they ban...
Yeah, it was from... because, well, the Department of Health and Human Services. So a spokesperson for the Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the CDC... Jesus, that was a mouthful. Said Jesus is allowed.
Did you get that?
Said the reported decree on
banned
words
do I have to leave the
was a
podcast
misrepresentation. Now? Yeah, you're fired. You're fired. Actually,
no.
Boy, bye. This is a feminist walks into a bar.
Oh no, and she doesn't even drink. The worst bar customer ever. She's just tipping $1 on waters.
Yeah. So I think it was more just like an internal strategy, like. You know what's alarming? Again, there's so many, like, it's scary that we're even in a time where, the strategists need to say, like, we can't say science though,
but what's
that's
scarier?
Terrifying.
Is that scarier, or is it scarier that we have a media that's like, hey, this is trending, so let's eschew the facts because this is going to get hits. And then we have a population that's so dumb that they're like, share this, this is gross, look at me, we are mad, we don't know, and let's in 2 days let's forget this happened.
Both are terrifying, and one led to the other. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
that's
don't know what I think this is a chicken egg. I don't know which happened first. I know it's all gross. And it makes me just feel bad. But it's more gross cuz it's like I don't know. At least these gross politicians are being gross to get power, whereas the gross population just seems like a dumb pack of dummies just doing it because they're dumb.
I think we're there. They're not dumb, Justin. It's fear. Like, we're afraid that
But
people
again,
are afraid that.
but a dumb person goes, "I'm afraid," scream, ah! But a smart person like you goes like, "I'm
I
afraid."
don't know. I shared it and was like, "What the fuck?"
But oh, hey, well, maybe you're a little
But
dumb.
also, I'm following up on it.
Maybe you're a little dumb. Maybe that's how I
am
got
a little
you.
dumb.
But that's my point. Like, but you're also there was at least a part of you. It's probably the part I
have
taught
been
you
like
'cause
trying to
I am
follow up. No, you did not stop. Oh my god, fucking
Jokes.
such a man to take ownership of my fucking
Well,
intelligence.
actually,
As
hashtag,
a journalist,
well,
I know to
actually,
keep following the story.
But that's my point. You don't need to be a journalist. You need to be
Right.
not a Mountain Dew.
I know. I'm
swilling
just saying it's
dummy.
not because of you, Justin.
Clearly, I said that to get the reaction I'm
Mhm.
getting right now. So don't even. I'll give you a mouthful.
I mean, it's, I guess
I'm fired.
you know what's most like. I get why fetus, transgender, entitlement, diversity, like
Science.
those are all words that like I get why Republicans like would be like, we're not funding fee. That's a baby. But like, what's scary is like evidence based,
I know.
science based, like science. I saw someone post, and this was a Democrat, but I think it's very. I mean, it's across the board. This like meme that was. It wasn't a meme. It was just a quote, and it was like, "It's better to be nice than to be right." And I'm like, that's fucking wrong. That's not.
Oh, it's the most wrong.
And I
Fuck
think-
that guy. I hope that guy dies.
It wasn't a guy, but like
Oh, it sounds
I just,
like a guy thing to
I
say.
think
Ugh.
that mentality is scary too, where it's like you can be both. You can be right and be nice about being right, but like also no, being right. Like we have facts. There is a war on science.
But
you know what I mean? Like,
but my point is then like again, like you're a scientist. Be smart. To me, it's smart to go like, all right, well, this fucking fried chicken eating dummy that we have in the White House isn't going to prove anything if we use the word science. So just don't use the word science, and I bet we'll get money because he's
to do
literally
more science.
to do more science because he is literally that dumb. He's
I
so
know.
dumb that he's ruining the country. But also, if we think of it the other way, he's so dumb we can trick him by taking out a word.
You know, there's
So
this-
how about we trick him and instead of worrying about what some fucking dummy on Twitter thinks? How about we trick the president and get money to keep you from getting AIDS?
There is this there is a fine balance of like I'm sure I totally know what the reporter or whoever was thinking. Like it's just like, okay, well this is scary, and so that hold on, please hear me out. I understand that like that was the first thought of like, well, we got to report it, and so now that we've reported and people have been so upset about it, now they're not going to do that. Okay, but then like you got to step back and like you're saying, it's kind of if they had just stayed under the radar. And there's a difference between like if the Trump here's what the initial story made it sound like, that the Trump administration handed these are our 7 weds, handed
Right.
it
But
down,
that's
and we're
my-
like, do not ever
But
say
that's
these
my
in your
point.
research.
You can't
if it
say
was
that
internal-
you can't say that the journalist at any point said that. Then what he or she said was, "This is going to give me a tight byline. This is going to spread fast. That's all I care about." That's all these fucking people in the media fucking care
I
about.
mean, that's not true, but
There's like 3 of them that'll uncover a pedophile every 4 years, and they're all going to get fucking fired in their late 40s because their $40,000 a year salary is no longer feasible for the fucking paper to maintain. So
I just think I would like to call on all intelligent Americans, those that are left.
I'm here.
No,
What do
but
you got to
there-
say?
No, but there are more. To give us credit, like follow up on your news stories. I think that this is like this sharing culture.
Or don't
and, like,
read
outreach
it.
culture is
Don't
scary.
read the news because you see
No,
because
you
the
should
thing,
read the news.
No, because this is a non-news story. Meaning, if you missed it, you would have learned. Like you're not missing anything because what happened is someone told you a lie. Because we can say that it's just bolstered truth or truth without full facts. That's a lie. So the media lied to you, and then 2 days later, after you didn't care, they said, "Oh, by the way, it's a lie." So it's better for you to just not hear it. Because then you don't have to go through the roller coaster or risk
Hold on.
missing the downhill part. You just don't hear it at all. You just don't hear it. Because believe me, if there's a terrorist attack, if there's a gunman in your neighborhood, you'll hear about it. Like, you won't miss anything that actually affects your life or that's actually world changing. You'll miss this stuff, and this stuff you should be missing if you want to be a more well-informed member of society. Don't read the news. Stop it.
So I was just looking at like the initial story. It did say that President Donald Trump's administration had banned the CDC from using 7 words or phrases.
Lies! It's
Again,
a lie!
I know, like it's, but I don't know.
But why do you think they made that lie? Because again,
I don't know
I'm
if
not
it's a
saying
lie. Again, I can't fucking decipher.
It's a non-truth.
Was it hand down? No, someone's not saying the truth. So like we don't know.
It's a non-truth.
Where it came from.
It's a non-truth.
It's just like.
But my point is, Donald Trump says stuff's fake news because he wants to obtain power, and like. You know what I mean? Like,
he knows that there is enough. Even like I've said before, even if it's not fake news, it's not the full story yet. So he can say fake news, and enough of it will have been wrong in the whole story that people can be like, "Oh yeah, it is fake news."
But it is fake news. He's not wrong. He's just an asshole. That's like what's fucking crazy about Trump is like he's almost like eating himself through to the other side, where it's like he's fucking right. He's just doing it wrong. Like literally, like it's like he invented a hammer before we had tools. And we're like, oh shit, a hammer. We could do great things with that hammer. And he's like, I know, I invented it to bash babies' heads in. And you're like, well, if you're going to use it for that, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And that's what he did with fake news. He called out the media and he's like, by the way, I'm calling out the media because I want to be racist and be a baby in power. And it's like, no, don't use it for that. Use it to call out this like deceitful journalism that poisons the minds of the American public. He's like, no, it's because they hate Republicans and me. And it's like, God damn it. Stop using the hammer to bash in babies' heads and let us build some houses with it. And then anytime you want to build a fucking house with this hammer, you take it over to a pile of wood and you're like, I'm going to build you a house. And people are like, don't kill my baby. And you're like, I'm not using it for that. Only that animal is using it for that. You can use it for other things. So it's like, yes, I'm calling out journalism because it's awful. But you know who else is awful? Donald Trump. Those things can both exist in a human being. They exist in me, and they should exist in you. You should be able to call out this dog shit media that just cares about their likes and their bylines and their shares and doesn't give a fuck about truth and doesn't even have a headline that's like CDC has word issue, more to come.
Yeah, so
it's just like Trump hands down.
I forever disagree with you. I don't think journalism's bad. What I will say though, and like from you, like us talking about it, because I just am so on journalism's side here, and like do think it's the fourth estate. But like, I agree. I will give you that there is a sense of. It's not even superiority, heroicism that journalists have and internalize because of Watergate, because of the Catholic Church.
Because of the good thing they do every 12 years.
Please let me finish.
Now they get to be heroes.
I was listening to, no, because journalists slave away for these fucking stories. They don't make any money. There is a sense of self-sacrifice that goes with it, and you self-sacrifice because you feel like you're doing something good for your community, and and information, news, getting the facts. That is good. Truth is important. There is a sense of that. I was listening to a story though on NPR yesterday when I was cleaning, and it was about the Pentagon Papers, and
woman should.
And shut up. I Googled it because I was like, oh, this is a really interesting story. And it's about, the Times and all these other newspapers releasing the Pentagon Papers about Vietnam. And the idea is the public should know. And that's fucking true. But the NPR report was from a few years ago. And I'm like, I feel like this story might have a different tone now, or maybe it should. But it just sort of harkened to that idea that there is this the tone was that these journalists were heroes for publishing this information, and they were to a certain extent, but that's all. As a journalist, that's what you hear and that's what you feel, and there is a sense of and it's true, but it's again nuance. That can go too far sometimes too. And where are we sticking to facts? Are we seeing truth? Are we facing the humanity in ourselves as journalists too, of where we can be fucked up, or when are we being irresponsible? Because we can be. We're not as baby hammering as Trump, right? But there is an internal view that you have to take as well that I think is missing.
Well, you guys aren't. That's the short answer.
All right, let's move on.
I say it. I'm the host this episode. I was about to say it.
I have a show and tell, so I wanna move on.
Topic 3.
Yay!
Simple, cut and dry. Let's take this into the new year with something
Yeah.
nice. Favorite Christmas gift all time.
Okay. So I was trying to think of this, and I was like, I don't think I have any memorable Christmas gifts. And then I'm
Sounds like
like,
you had a great childhood.
but no, I totally do. You just kind of forget. You know what I mean?
It's just a joke.
But my favorite Christmas gift is from you, and it was our first year of
What?
dating,
Yeah.
and we kind of bonded over. I always watch Rocky 4 for any holiday because it's hilarious and like totally fitting for any holiday. And so it was Christmas time, and you love
It is
Rocky.
a Christmas movie.
And yeah, because he's in the snow, and like it's
Well, the final fight
Christmas.
takes place on Christmas
Mm.
Eve. Is it Christmas Day or
Mm,
Christmas Eve? I think it's
I don't
Christmas Eve.
remember.
No, I think it's Christmas. God, I feel so guilty for not knowing this.
I
I'm such a huge
know.
Rocky fan.
But so for
The robot is wearing a Santa
Happy birthday,
costume.
Molly. Oh
when
yeah,
they cut to it.
when he's at home alone.
Because
with the
remember, they
robot.
have the. I think it is Christmas because that's what happens at the press conference when they're announcing the fight. They're like, the fight will take place in Russia and will take place on December 25th.
Oh, I didn't.
And
know,
then
I
Paulie
didn't
goes,
realize that.
on Christmas? You agreed to this?
Hold on, let me Google it.
No, we can Google. No one gives a shit about this but me. So,
oh yeah,
it's a Christmas
it totally
movie, though.
is. Christmas Day fight.
yes. So, suck my dick, Die Hard fans.
That's
I mean, Die
hilarious.
Hard's a great movie.
Dude, Rocky 4 is the greatest Christmas movie ever.
Exactly. Die Hard is a great movie, but all those people are like, best Christmas movie.
I love
'Cause
that.
I'm also someone that wore T-shirts that said bacon is the best when that was the thing,
Dude,
too.
it's totally a hipster thing to be like Die Hard's the
But
best
if we're going to go
Christmas movie.
non-traditional Christmas movies, Rocky 4 is a way better Christmas movie than Die Hard.
You know what attracted me
Die
to
Hard
you
is
too
a great
was
movie,
that
though.
you-
Let me say that,
That
though.
you were like totally unabashedly in love with Rocky, like because it's so not cool or like hip. I don't know, like hip. Like, I mean, you
I
had
was
like
ta-
you had friends who were like, this is my favorite movie,
I
or
was-
like, and I was one of those people who's like, my favorite movie is Closer, or do you know what I mean? Like something lame, you know? Like you're just like, I fucking love Rocky, and it's amazing, and I'm like, I like you for like owning.
I'm going to marry that
Yeah,
man.
weirdness. So anyway, so for Christmas you got me a Rocky box set, and instead of you had printed out photos of us together in our first year and like put them in the front of each DVD. It was so cute, and
Whoa,
a
you
quote
got it. Yeah.
and a quote from each movie.
A quote from each movie that I thought was like a loving quote
yeah.
about our relationship.
Like no pain, or Adrian, we did it. Like
Yeah.
it was so sweet, and then also.
I made you custom DVD boxes.
It was so sweet, and like even when we broke up and we're fighting, I could not bring myself to get rid of it. I still have them, and like
Yeah. They're in our house now.
my Thunderlips T-shirt that you bequeathed me, like
Yeah, because it didn't fit me.
But then also with that though, what I loved, so that was really sweet and cute and like perfect. But you were so good at like this was before I had found mindfulness or meditation or sobriety or DBT or anything useful with my brain, but you like knew I had major anxiety and just like you knew something was wrong in my head. Like you couldn't pinpoint anything on it yet. Also, you still wanted to impress me, so you didn't bring it up yet. But like you got me worry dolls from Guatemala.
Uh-huh.
And those are like those little dolls, and you put them in. You assign one worry a night and put it in a little baggie that kind of looks like your beer can.
And then you put
And
the
then
little
you put the
baggie
baggie under your
pillow.
pillow, and those worries will go away in the night.
take
And
the
I thought
little
it was
worries away from you.
I thought it was so sweet. And I don't know if we're filming.
Yeah, we're filming.
Yeah. So I got this in San Antonio. It's a little hair clip.
Hold on, let me focus on you.
It's a hair clip of worry dolls, and it's gaudy as fuck, but I love it.
I don't
and I
know
was
if
like,
they're worry dolls, but worry dolls do look like that.
oh, what's the difference? I thought it's
I
just a
don't
little tiny doll.
Yeah,
was a worry doll.
Yeah, but those look like San Antonio people.
Oh.
I don't know. I
Our
mean,
worry
maybe
doll's
it is.
Guatemalan only.
That's where it originated. I'm just saying.
I loved it. I just thought it was cute too, like giving me a piece of your culture also. Like it just was that was like the best Christmas gift ever. Like both of those.
Yeah.
Like it just was better than anything you could have bought me because it was so personal and like.
Sorry, I shut down your clip.
No, it's cool.
I just I just wanted people to know that
those are not worried.
as a true Guatemalan, that is now what I gave her.
I'm
Camera, I gave her the
I'm
ones
so
in
a
the
white
sack.
lady that's like, these aren't worry. They look like worry dolls.
They look brown to me. So Mexico, Guatemala, and I just know they're coming here taking my dad's job.
But so that's mine. What are yours?
They can hold up my hair. Another menial task.
We're gonna put them to work.
Take my worries, and when you're done with that, hold up my hair. Thank you. I'm a white woman. I feel bad now because I just went straight like childhood fun things.
That's okay. I get you
So,
gifts all the time, not just for Christmas.
so I know my whole lifestyle is a gift from you. So now I thought of two. One I remember, and I just remember like a ton of people had these. I don't know if anyone in your family ever got one of these, or you knew anyone that did. They were very popular. It was the like Rydell football uniform. It came with like pants, a jersey, and a helmet.
No.
And so grew up in Cleveland, so I got the Bernie Kosar Rydell kit. So it came with like football pants.
And Rydell just reminds me of Greece. Rydell High. They were Rydell High. No.
So it came with football pants, a Bernie Kosar jersey, and like a Browns helmet. And I just remember I wore it Christmas Day to our family get together, and I just like would wear it forever. I grew out of the pants and the shirt very quickly because I was a giant child, but I would wear the helmet all the time, and I probably think it is in like a basement somewhere maybe. It was just cool because it was like it's a helmet like in jersey and like I don't know, just you're like
this?
Yeah, but like way more like that's modern. Just
So
look
like
up
a Bernie Kosar Rydell outfit.
yeah, like
Costume?
kids uniform or something like that. Bernie Kosar Rydell kids uniform. I mean, it looks very like. I mean, it's not like
uniform,
authentic.
not outfit.
Did I say
no,
outfit?
I said I was googling outfit.
Yeah, you always do that.
I'm always like, did you put on your costume?
Yeah, well, you always say you're like, you're watching. Oh, those are nice costumes those guys are wearing.
I know. I think
Is
I do
this
it
a special game?
subconsciously, but on fucking purpose to degrade sports because they're taken so seriously and it's so stupid.
No, it's not seriously. It's just like a jersey.
No, fuck off.
Or
that any kind of interest is not nearly as valuable. It's my
just,
small child chip
Dude, we
on my
need
shoulder.
to end this episode. We're
I
doing
need to
a
pee
fun
real
topic.
hard.
So find this thing on the thing or
I
move
can't
it.
find it.
Okay, well, I had that. And then, like, I remember, I think on my 10th or 11th birthday, I got Madden 94 for Sega Genesis. And I just remember, I was, like, in the budget where it was, like, my budget was about, like, one big gift per Christmas. And when video games were like a thing, like a cartridge was like 60, 70 bucks sometimes. So like that was your big gift. And I just remember like I got Madden 94 for Sega. That was my first Madden game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fucking good. And I just played it all that day. And like we went to like our family Christmas. I was like, I can't wait to get it back home and play that.
Oh,
more.
you're just so excited to go home.
It was great. I like loved it. So
That's
I
cute.
think those two. I had 2 football gifts. I'm such a boy.
Ugh.
Gender normative.
Sports are dumb.
Okay. Anyways, costume. All right, so that's been the last FemComPod ever.
2017.
Me and Jackie are getting divorced. No, do you think we'd still do this if we got divorced? This podcast?
Hell no.
It'd probably be fun. Not for us, for the listener. Probably bitter as hell. No, that's the last FemComPod of 2017. So join us January 4th over on patreon.com/LO class no dash. Just give us a buck and listen to our previous bonus episode and the new one coming out January 4th about I Love You, Daddy, film review and societal discussion about Louis C.K. and sexual harassment and if the movie was good or not. The next episode of this will come out after the holidays on January 8th. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interesting stuff that happens that we can get into then. I've been Justin Golak, JustinGolak.com, at Justin Golak on Twitter, Justin at JustinGolak.com. Send me them dick pics. I got a show if you live in Chicago and you're around for the holidays and you're like, oh, there's nothing to do. I maybe did a friend's Christmas, a friend's miss, or maybe I just got back. You know, I went just for Christmas. I got back the 26th. No one's around. I have a show 26 at I.O. Check out JustinGolak.com. I'll have it posted there. But that's my last one of the year. But I should have some stuff coming up next year and then hopefully on the road in the spring. So just keep to JustinGolak.com upcoming shows for updates. I know you got to pee. We're going to plow through. Jackie Manty, JackieManty.com, at Jackie_Manty on Twitter, Jackie at JackieManty.com. Send her them tit pics. Do you have anything you want to plug specifically?
Yeah, so check out my blog, JackieManty.com. Before the end of the year, I'm going to post some stuff about our road trip and just sort of my annual review of the year, which are always fun to write and read. And check out mildlydepressed.com. Lots of cool new stuff coming up. Lots of great artwork that I'm super proud of. I think I'm growing as
And
a
podcast should be
faux
coming back
embroiderer.
there.
And then podcast coming in January. Yep.
Yep. So
I
2018
love you
is the
guys.
year of the Mildly Depressed podcast. Oh,
Yeah.
Jackie's checking out to go pee. She doesn't love you as much as I do. Just remember that. Just running out of the room. Oh, I could talk shit about her, but I don't. That's love. Take that love into the new year, everybody out there, and have a good one. And join us there when we come back there in a few short weeks. See you guys soon.